Well, welcome to you. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you learned something. We think you will. So this today is the featured club is the driver. Now everybody wants to hit that, don't they? Scream it down the middle of the fairway, and I'm going to have Eric just hit one just to start it off. And this is the way your driver should be hit. Girls as well, right? Because the girls are hitting at 300 yards today. So it's amazing. So this is what it should sound like and look like.
Yeah. Okay.
Did you see that?
Yeah, just like that.
Did you hear that sound? Because that is a sound we'd all like to have, isn't it? You just, because it scares the daylights out of the person you're playing with if it did that. So we're going to see if we can get a swish out of your driver, which is the most important thing. Club speed, because the ball hits the club, and so it's going to react to whatever speed you give it. So it's kind of interesting. So the other one is, look at the tee height. We'll just answer the tee. How high should I tee my driver? So address that ball, Eric. And so if it's teed half of it above the top of the edge of the club, right, like that one is, maybe slightly above, that's good too. The other way is, the other question is, should I address the ball? Do you understand that now? Should you address the ball or the ground? So a lot of players address the ball, and then they don't soul it anymore, and so you're swinging through air. Go ahead and hit it if you want. So it's not souled. This club is not put on the ground. Why would that be? Because if it's higher, if you're teeing it higher, you'd better keep the club in the air. And don't forget this one too. When you get to the first tee, you've got to hit one of three things. One of three. Tee, ground, and ball. Which one is it? So why does the first tee have divots on it? So remember this, the driver never hits the ground in its life unless the ball is on the ground, but it mostly is never on the ground. Very few can. Hit one from teeing it lower. So if you wanted to hit it lower, right, this one, you see how low that is? Well, it's only going to hit the bottom edge of the club, so it won't go very high, even if it hits it perfect. So the trajectory is more like a bullet, more like that. It doesn't float, right? You understand that? So it's an interesting, simple thing. You only have to address the ball, and when you do, you don't have to go up to it. Do you understand that? So if it's teed high, you'd better go up to it if you put the club on the ground. So when would you put the club on the ground then? Well, just to see that it's aimed, because they spend millions of dollars on aiming. So if you put it on the ground, it's actually aimed for you. But we fiddle with it. So if you put it on the ground and it's aimed and then you hold it, then you can bring it up to where the ball is. You understand that? These are crazy little things, but this is all before you swing. We haven't even mentioned that yet. Amazing, isn't it? So, good job, Eric. So here's where we came from. And everybody complains, oh, it must be my driver. Yeah, like heck today. You spent $500 on your driver, and you complain about your driver. We used to have to hit them with this, right? And they did very well with this. They shot in the 60s with these things, right? This is an amazing thing because we've taken it out. So you can turn this like this. You can twist it like that. So what you did, you had to wait for the twist to go this way. And then if you got the twist to go this way, it would go a heck of a long way because the shaft was rotating in the same direction as you, right? So it would run like mad. And then they took away all that torque. There isn't any of that left in these shafts anymore. So there's no twisting in any shaft that you have today. It takes away that element. But it's actually a pretty good element to have. That rollover of the shaft makes it go very far. So it's not bad. The other one is the differences in the shafts, right? So where the kick is put there so that the driver gets more loft for you. So it gets it into the air. So you'd better have some kick at the bottom. You see that? It's got a lot. There's some that I have that have even got more than that. But the idea is to get that working for you. So that's kind of in having one fit. because it's important. You're spending a lot of money on it, so you should have it fit your golf swing, your speed. There's a huge thing that just happened with Titleist, and I got the news last night. The new TSR 1 driver, TSR, remember this now, TSR 1, number 1. There are 2, 3, and 4. They're already out, but the TSR 1 is 40 grams lighter than any club they make. 40 grams, that's a huge deal. So for slower swing speeds, that's fantastic. Most of us don't have 100-mile-an-hour swing speeds. Eric does, right? He does, and Tom does. You're going to see him in a minute. And he has more than that, more than 100. I think he's up in the 120s somewhere, like you.
He may be. I'm not.
So that's a measurement of speed, and it's kind of like asking somebody if you're attached to something doing 124 miles an hour, which the took by the time. If you're attached to it, where do you think you're going to end up? It's going to pull you all the way around, isn't it? So it's kind of like, and we're going to show you how this club, this is 60 inches long. So 60 inches, what does that do? Well, look at the arc that it builds. Look at the arc, the distance it is away from the center, right? And so how big is the arc now? If you measured that from the ball to the top, how far would that be? That's a massive arc, right? And it hasn't fallen down like that. It's just up there. So when it comes back, it returns to its original place much easier, right? But the bigger the arc, the higher the ball. Remember that. So if you collapse the arc, if the arc collapses around you like that, you're narrowing the arc down to very small, and so the ball can't get up in the air. You understand that? So the bigger the arc, and how do you get a big arc? You keep your arms extended. That's as far as mine go. They won't go any further than that. And up the top, they're extended still. So this is holding it up. Then when it comes back still with the same arc. So how important is making a big arc around yourself? And this is the biggest one, isn't it? You'd love this one. So, where's Tom? We're going to have somebody hit this. And then you'll get to see what it's like. I make a lot of the women use it because it gives you a sense of what it feels like to be moved by the club itself and how big your swing gets from it. 5 feet long. Anyone see that?
It's about 200 feet up in the air.
That's where it was.
Do it again.
Yeah.
One more?
Do another one.
That's 2 for 2, you know.
See that cloud up there? You didn't think it would go that high, did you? So that's a happy window of happiness. That's a window of happiness. Where's your window? There, or there?
Closer.
Where is it? Right? Thank you very much. Didn't he get enough calls for that, Mike?
That's awesome.
Eric, now I want you to hit one as high as you can.
With mine?
Yeah. So Eric's going to hit one high. I want you to look at, this is what you should look for when you're driving yourself. Don't just look out. Look up to where you window, where you'd like it to fly through. Break a window, it's a good thing. Right? So where do you see this one going, Eric?
Well, there's a gap in the
See the gap in the track?
Yeah, about 100 feet lower than the last one.
You see that?
That'll be nice.
You see that? Now watch it go to that point. And that makes it fly forever and carry all the sand traps. You see that? It's still up there.
It's right in it. Right
How perfect was that? How about that? You understand that? That's where your window is, and you really want to have that in your mind so that it doesn't run there, it flies there. Because the new golf balls don't spin as much. Thank goodness for that, and therefore there's more roll on the end. And so it's good to get the ball to fly. It loves flying. Has a big smile on its face. You understand that? All right, and this is kind of, these are the things that this one is just in the 20th century, 19th century. Unbelievable So, and this one, there's only 2 left of these, 2, because it's kind of interesting. This is how they used to measure your clubs. Used to measure, it's marked on. Understand that? So you put it down here like that, and you go there to where you feel comfortable, and that gives you the exact thing. This is 100 years ago. Amazing, isn't it? And it's like such a simple technology. And this is spliced into that. It's not all one. There's a shaft and then a head, and it's spliced, and that's why they have the binding there, because if they didn't, it would fly off. So it's marvelous to know where we've come from, and nobody should complain about the clubs today at all. So here's another one for you. You like this one? This is titanium, most expensive shaft ever made. Titanium, real. So very, very strong, marvelous shaft to hit balls with. And he hit the first one he hit, I think, came down at about 340 or something like that. That's 47 inches long, right? And that's what they've capped it off now. You can't go past 47. Unfortunately, because most of the girls on the LPGA tour were using 50-inch clubs at one time, and certainly 47 for all the short girls. So the shorter you are, the bigger your arc needs to be, and so they did it by club length. Isn't that marvelous? If you're 6 feet, you already have a big arc, right? So it's different. It's good. So let's talk about how do you get to the window? You see these palm trees here, right? You should be able to get a ball, no matter what your speed is, up to that palm tree. So how would you do that when you address the ball? Because this is where the answer to your game is. And then well, how do you do it? You're going to be doing this. So to get it over those trees, when you look up, your body kind of looks like this. It kind of goes like that. Especially if you're looking from the side. When you look up, your body will tip just a little bit. Just enough to say, boy. Now if you look at my shoulders now, when I've tipped a little bit, is it going to go over that tree? Yeah, easily. Actually easily. If I have my shoulders like that, no. If I have my shoulders like that, no. So it's all about angles. So once we tip the top back a little bit behind the ball, now watch this carefully, because this is where people go wrong. Have the ball between your feet, spread one foot, and then spread the other just to balance. Now where's the ball? Where is it? Now remember that one again. It's in the middle of my feet now. Where is it now? Right, so now my head's at the front of the ball. So this is very simple. You don't have to do anything with your head other than just put the right foot back, and now my head is here. Okay. It's not where the ball is. So don't address the ball yet. So watch. So now I'm going to put a little tilt in my shoulders, and the ball's in a perfect spot. Now watch carefully now. So my head is right there, and it needs to be. So now when I go back, it's still there. It's still there. Because it's behind the ball to start with. But it doesn't need to go any more than that. It just needs to stay right there. Everything else is turning. Isn't it? Around a what? Now, my head isn't down, and I'm not turning because I'm going to keep my head down. Because all the animals in the jungle with their head down get eaten. Don't forget that. So keeping your head down too long is not good. So all right, so there you go. All right, it's going back. And now loading this up is just, my wrist can move a little bit like that, soften a little bit, and that makes it go and go and go, and I haven't moved from where I was, which is okay. So there are people that do that, John Daly, right? And then there are people that go down and just go to here. But it's all the same thing, it just depends on what you add into it. So it's all going together, you know. It all leaves at the same time. Not the wrist lead, not the arms lead, not the shoulders lead. they all leave at the same time. Because that's kind of synchronizing, isn't it? It's kind of like putting the club across your shoulders and making those three things go together. They all go together. And when they get to the top, this is pointing down to where the ball is, and that's your angle of launch, and it's also your swing plane too. Can't lift them up and down. Right? Got that? It's all about loading. And we've just got these here to show you. If you learn some things that you can do at home. This is one beautiful thing you can do at home. You sit on the edge of your couch, just on the edge of the couch, right? Just like that. And your knees are bent a little bit like that, which is what they'll be anyway. But they're not straight, so they're comfortable. So watch. You can load the club without having to do all this stuff. Watch. Isn't that amazing? And all that you do, this is the way you do that. Pick the club up, put it over your shoulder. Let's do that. Make sure you got plenty of room. Just pick the club up like this over your right shoulder and make sure you know which one that is. Are you ready? Watch this. Just put it up. Good. Now make a little turn. Just a little one. You wish you could do that. Just a little turn back. Right? A little turn back. Yeah. Because that club is loaded. It's loaded, ready to fire. You understand that? It just needs to come off a little. Just up. Why? Because that's like a bridge. It needs some support. So that club needs some support. Isn't that amazing? Let me do that again for you right here. So you're at home. You put the club on the ground and you load it without doing anything. But if you do that, look at yourselves. Most of you have turned. Most of you have turned. The reason for that is your left arm has to do, it's got to get to the right, so it's going to have to move, and it does. So even though you feel that you haven't moved, when you load it this way, sideways, you've turned. Yes? Fantastic. Fantastic. It's that simple. So what did you do? Did you sway? Did you move all over the place? No, you didn't. And so you see that in your mind's eye. You see it just sitting on the edge of that chair and just loading and unloading from there. Because it doesn't stop. The only thing that you've got to worry about when you use the chair to play is align it. You have to aim it, drop it. Because you'll blame the chair if it goes off to the right or to the left. You always have fun doing these things. I don't see anybody having fun when they walk off that 18th green, that's for sure. They look like they don't want to ever do it again. Some of that, but not all of it. So what did you notice in the slow-mo swing? Just staying there, and then now watch coming down. This, all right, watch what happens next. All right, so it's loaded up. It comes down, and notice where it bottoms out. It's right about here. So when it starts going forward a little bit and my head's behind the ball, it'll catch that ball on the upswing. Just on the up, like that. So that's because your head's behind the ball. So that's a natural thing. You'll catch it on the upswing. If you move to that, if you move forward to it, the club is too high to get behind it and it'll hit down. So you'll pop them. So when you pop them, that's the reason why. So watch what happens next. I go over on this side, my head stays still there for a while, and then when it gets to here, it's going to pull me with it, whether I like it or not. It's pulling me, all that force, and this, so it'll go, and it'll go, and it'll go, and it'll pull it all the way to there. All the way. Understand that? So all that ending is huge. So take your right hand, all right? Put the left hand on top of the club, just like that. Good. It should be opposite your front shoulder. If it is, that's where the ball's going to be. Perfect. Ready? Now bend a little bit at the waist and put your right hand down like that. You ready? Go back to the top. Stop. And keep your hands like this on top of that club. You can let it collapse a little bit to the right like that. Right? And now swing underneath your left arm. Swing your right arm underneath your left. So what's that doing? It's keeping you there, isn't it? It's keeping your head still. Don't look at your right arm. Just look at the ground where the ball's going to be. You got it? So watch carefully. Load, go. Load, go. What it's doing is it's keeping you down on the club itself. You're not lifting your head up. You're not leaving that area. And so the contact point's going to be right in the middle of the club all the time. Thank God for that. So that's where the sound comes from. You understand that? So you can do it without a club. Put your left hand down like that. Ready? Put your right hand down like that. Leave your left hand where it is. It's hard to leave it there, isn't it? But that's marvelous to do that. Leave it where it is. Now swing your right arm under your left and leave it where it is. Right? Because that's how you get underneath. You understand that? That's how you get underneath. Not this way. That's over the top of it. You hear that expression all the time. It's not on top, right? All right, here's another one. This is where your speed comes from. Take the left arm back to the top. Just the left, to the top. I'll go this way. Just to the top. Ready? What's the top of the backswing? It's there. Now what are you going to do with all this energy? You've got a ton of energy built up there. What are you going to do with it? So watch me. It's like Federer's backhand for those tennis players right here. Federer's backhand. Boom! Like that. So the club goes past you. And my eyes are still on the ground. But the club is flying past me. So that's called, accelerating past. Marvelous thing. Ready? So some people do this. That's not good because your center's moving all the time. Your center is shifting. It's not in the same place. It should be. Understand? That's one. How fast is your left arm going? Let's test the right arm now then. Same thing. Put your right arm out. Ready? Take it back. Right? And then fire the right arm as fast as you can to the end. Good. How fast is that going? Right. So now it needs a bit of help because watch. It needs some help. That's just arms. Now watch, I'm going to synchronize that with me and this, going that way. And then hold it there. Hold it. Right? Some are restricted, some are not. Try to get unrestricted. Danny, show this girl here who's got a marvelous golf swing. Show her unrestrictedly. Watch this now. Danny's going to show her where it should be because she's got the idea. She's got to get it where. Watch carefully. And she's not going to the edge. That's it. And then let the knee go.
There you go.
Good. Now where does the arm go to? Watch. Yeah. That's your destination. Yes. It's called destination. The very end of a golf swing. It doesn't stop until it gets to the very end. That's what they used to do in the old days. They'd go a little bit of sway, arm collapse. You know why they collapsed their arms? They had a jacket and tie on. Tweed. So if they'd have gotten this heavy, they'd have died because their ties shoved up that Adam's apple. So they had to let go of something. So they softened their arms, right? Otherwise they're going to go choke themselves to death. And then they go through like that, and they always finish like that. Elbows nice and soft and free. So, because of the heavy clothes they have. Right? So there is a destination. So put the club on your front shoulder now, as though you're going to a target. Because none of you feel tight on the other one, on the front. Got it. Left. Got it. You got it? And if you let go of it a little bit, the toe will hang down. The toe of the club, like your shoe. Toe, heel, sole. It's just like a shoe. The toe, when I let go of it, it hangs down. That's beautiful. That's in balance with itself. Okay. You got that? Beautiful. So you're on the front now. You're on the front side. Not the back side, front side. Okay. We're going to the green, and this is on the green side of it, right? This is not on the green side. This is. So now watch. leave it there. Go to the end. Just go to the end. As far as you can. As far as you can. How around can you go? Now, if you can't get around there, you've got to lift your heel off the ground and let your knee come into the other knee. And that allows your hips to go a little bit further, and then you can go a little bit more through. So you're going to use, what are you using to hit a golf ball in? What am I using to pick this bucket up? What am I using? He's been screwed. Yeah, you're using everything. Your feet are involved in it. Whether you know it or not, that's your platform. That's where you get your balance. So when I'm moving there, my legs are moving, my hips are moving, everything's moving. So everything's involved, not just one or the other. You understand that? So wouldn't that be nice to finish with? Wouldn't it? And it's easy. It's not physical at all. That is not physical. It'll go there if you let it, just like this will, if I just let it go down. Because now I've got all that speed coming back. And see how you're developing. Huge amounts of speed, just even doing it that way. Oh my God. And then you say, ha, you've got to look good. You have to look good. Even if you top it, always end like that. All right. Any questions so far? Right? Alignment is a pretty easy thing. It's kind of it's a funny game because it's a sideways game. So if you put your hands out like that, am I aimed down the middle of the fairway? Yeah. I'm not now though. Pretty easy, isn't it? It's a sideways game. Played rotary. What do you ever think of that? Anything else? You've got to be terrific. So remember this. Tee the ball high enough to look so you don't ever hit the ground. I don't want to hear any ground. And I don't want to see any broken tees. Because if you're breaking tees, you're hitting down on it. And so you're trapping the ball and just cutting it in two like that. So it should be still there most of the time if you hit it properly. Now see if you can do that. Off the top of that tee because it's only a golf ball holder. So he tipped the hit. He had the tee on the top, and that's good. And when it rolls over like that, it flips like that. Try one more. Let's see if we can leave it.
Leave it there?
Yeah. And that was good because we can still reuse the tee. See, it's hitting the tip of it, so it's just flipping out of the grass. And usually, with the sand like this, there's nothing to hold it, so it pops out.
He's being kind.
Yeah.
You're being kind.
He's got your back, Eric.
One more. Because this one's a tougher one, it's a little taller. But Mo Norman holds the record 32 times off the same tee. He's hitting it beautiful. Right in the middle of the club, and you'll just hit very tip of it. What it means is you're very level, very level. There's no up and down. There's no up or down. It just knocks it right off the top of the tee. Do you ever see a two-colored ball like that?
Yeah.
This has been out since 1959. Pink. And the idea was when you put it on a tee, you're going down the fairway, which side of it are you going to hit? It's pretty good, isn't it? Everyone would like to hit the inside, but that starts going over there. So what you'd ideally like is to get a little bit of each color. Just a little bit of each side. That's the full back of it. But it's a nice visual because I can see that. And I can have the club coming in at an angle, which is called inside, or to the right, first base, second base, rather. And then, or I'm getting too far to the yellow, and I'm coming over the top of it, and that's why I'm pulling it. So it's kind of a neat thing. That's why they put lines on the ball now. Right? They have lines on, Titleist have lines on them. So you can line that up and hit which side of the line you're looking at. It's interesting, isn't it? Is that interesting? Then you've got this, which is your flight tee, this has an angle on it so that when the ball takes off, it goes off on the angle of your tee. How much would you pay for one of those? Yeah. Definitely, because you can change the angle of the tee, and it goes up higher and higher depending on which angle you're using. I've got thousands of it. I got so many tees. I think I've got 5,000. I've counted them now. They're all different, every single one of them. But this is the one I love the most. It's like the audible ones. This is so that I can know that my right arm is coming into my left. My right arm is coming into my right side. Isn't that marvelous? I imagine this whole line of people with those on. Oh, well. It's very good. Any questions? Now you're going to do it. You're going to do it. It's basically the setup. The setup is the thing that's different from the driver, because the driver doesn't have much angle on it. So to make it have more angle, we have to put a little tilt in it. And since one of the great ways to learn is to go to the back of this tee, if there's nobody here like they are now, they're down the back. Go to the back of this tee and tee a ball up and hit it. Because you've already got the slope and it's already in the air. So it's like going up a hill. Boom. Jody?
It's not working.
The easiest way to set yourself up in the distance from the ball.
Good. When you did this, your arms are close to you. When you put it on the ground, they should still be there. And when you move away a little bit, they extend a little bit, but they don't. There's no gap between your arms and your body. So you remember spinning skaters? At the end of their performance, they go like that, and they spin like that. If their arms get away from you too far, you lose a lot of speed. So as they go to the top, out, in front of you, and down, you've measured it. You understand that? Because you can't go any further or any closer to it. It's the easiest way to do it. Otherwise you're thinking about one hand or two hands from your leg and things like that. They're all good, but the main thing is to keep your arms as close to you as you can, because when you're moving, they stay there. They stay. They don't go too far away, either way. It's called arm fly away. You don't want one of those to be more around you. Got it? Anything else? You ready to go? All right. The deal is, why do we always only allow 4 and then rotate? You know, go to the next person and then come back again. Then as many 4s as you want. Remember this when you're practicing. I see 2 crazy things all the time. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, especially in the morning. People dump the basket out. That's the worst thing you can do. You will ruin your driver. You will ruin your clubs, because sand gets on between the ball and the face. It will ruin your club. You always have to hit a dry ball. You understand that? A dry ball. So leave them in the basket. Take one at a time. It'll drive you nuts, because you'll have to go back to your basket. It's not dumping and then just hitting balls. You have to have a little interlude so that you can digest what's happening. You understand that? So 4 has a beginning and an end. That's good. Now I'll digest it. I'll say it was terrible. I need to get 3 out of 4, or 2 out of 4, or 4 out of 4. There's a challenge. Your mind loves challenges. It keeps it occupied. As soon as your mind is not occupied on something like that, a challenge, it'll go somewhere else, and that's when you have to quit. Go chip and putt. You understand that? All right? Good. Let's go get some speed.